What if I told you there was a Sims game that is more stripped down and basic than anything you've ever seen? A game where the neighborhood isn't in 3D, the Sims lack personality customization, babies are stuck in their bassinets, and the base game provided nothing but the basics to keep a Sim or two alive. That's right, The Sims 4 is clearly a step back from the previous Sims games in the franchise, but at least it's better than The Sims 1, right? Well, let's find out. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we're gonna count down the top 10 reasons why The Sims 1 is actually better than The Sims 4. This video is designed to illustrate specific strengths of The Sims 1. However, many of these points involve subjective opinion, so if you prefer another Sims game, that is totally fine. No Sims game is without its problems, and The Sims 1 is no exception. Obviously, if you value things like vapid, joyful Sims or building white middle-class houses, then The Sims 4 may be the perfect choice for you. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Number 1. Music. If there is one thing the Sims franchise has been consistent with, it's providing a strong soundtrack to inspire players as they create and design throughout the game. This level of quality began with the launch of the Sims base game. Players were dazzled by the improvised piano riffs, post-war shopping music symphonies, and classically styled arrangements. Each expansion pack also included a heavy-hitting soundtrack to go alongside the new content. A particular favorite of the retro Sims community is The Sims Superstar. Contextually, The Sims was released during a time when popular music was very much manufactured and void of any significant artistry. So to turn an entire generation of kids and teens onto more sophisticated musical styles in the year 2000 is nothing short of incredible and iconic. Number 2. Difficulty. Back in the year 2000, simulation games were relatively new and not everyone fully understood the concept. Sandbox games such as SimCity and Roller Coaster Tycoon were intriguing, but traditional gamers were, at first, apprehensive to play something so boring. However, The Sims 1 solved this problem by making the game extremely challenging. Most activity in the game is centered around not dying, just like you would in Sonic the Hedgehog or Super Mario. For example, your needs drop faster than you can even imagine. Work promotions and friendships are nearly impossible to obtain, and one wrong move and your house and family will literally burn to the ground. There are no weekends, days off, or even a fridge that can significantly raise your hunger. So in other words, The Sims 1 actually mimics the stresses of real life. Number 3. Innovation. Say what you want about The Sims 1. It may be old and clunky like me, but this game has inspired it all. Many of the activities and gameplay features that you've enjoyed in The Sims 4, 3, and 2 got their start right in this very game. Just looking superficially at the base game and a few expansion packs, we can see the team really tried to include as many things to do as possible. In The Sims 1, we got relationships, dating, gardening, celebrity stars, spellcasters, vacations, Bonehilda, roller coasters, Bella Goth, and even horrifically ugly build-buy items. The game really did come with everything that we know and love from more recent iterations. Number 4. Mainstream breakthrough. In the time The Sims 1 was released, many subcultures of tech and video games were seen as uncool, especially for girls. However, The Sims was instrumental in changing this cultural stigma. By utilizing trends, current popular celebrities, and cracking into the purchasing power of young females, The Sims turned the average teeny bopper rolling her eyes at a computer game to sleeping outside an electronic boutique for the latest Sims expansion pack. The most mainstream thing that ever happened in the Sims franchise is a celebrity party launch for The Sims Online, a multiplayer version of The Sims 1. Images for this party are scarce and hard to come by, but there is no photograph more iconic than a sketchy Nicole Richie showing off her product placement skills on the red carpet. Number 5. Voice acting. There are conflicting reports on how the Simlish language was created and continues to develop. Some sources cite developers using syllables from a variety of languages to make it more universally appealing. Other references report actors simply recording multiple takes while improvising to the animation of The Sims. Regardless of specifics, The Sims 1 has arguably the best voice acting in the entire series. The performances are raw and filled with human emotion. They are clearly articulated and convincing, especially as they scream in horror as they're being burned alive. To this day, some of The Sims 1 phrases remain iconic and repeated by Simmers to this very day. Dis bra is fröhliche in an ubitus na. Simlish has lost its charm in many ways as of late, as later performances in The Sims installments seem to focus more on its goofy nature, removing the more raw human emotion. Number 6. Physical media. Not a specific flaw of The Sims 4, for once, but the joy of purchasing a new Sims game or pack in the early 2000s began even before you arrived home from the store. Boxes open up the front, revealing all the new content that would be waiting for you inside, something that at the time wasn't really very common. Most boxes just included information on the back. This feeling of joy and anticipation is far more enjoyable than the anxiety of looking at a list of dozens of unpurchased hollow Sims 4 DLC during an Origin sale. These boxes are beautifully designed and colored. Looking at them individually is a joy, but seeing them in a cohesive collection together is on another level. Just even the red of Hot Date and the golden yellow of Vacation are a palette on their own level. Number 7. Whimsicality. Being one of the first conceptualized life simulators, many things in The Sims 1 were realistic, but many others were also whimsical and out of this world. To start, the build buy, particularly from a few expansion packs, is unlike anything we've ever seen since. In fact, even the Maxis builds found in the game show no signs of the status quo. Most notably is this hideously colored octagonal mess. This was my favorite house as a child, and it's even iconic enough to be referenced in The Sims 3. Regardless of appearance, we've had many ridiculously fun gameplay objects as well. Robot butlers, the potion table, magic lamp, and clown roller coasters are all waiting for you on your Sims 1 adventure. A personal favorite is when you get a random phone call. Sometimes their message is particularly eerie and unsettling. Number 8. Imagination. Are better graphics always a positive thing? Not necessarily, according to Will Wright. Of course, there is valid criticism that some sprites, particularly of the Sims themselves, are a little rough around the edges, but the facial features on the Sims are left intentionally somewhat ambiguous, making it easier for the player to superimpose themselves or whoever they imagine on the Sims. Once the Sims franchise made the leap into 3D, we can see that although the level of detail has increased significantly, each and every detail and flaw on your Sim stands out very clearly, making it much more time-consuming to get your Sim to look exactly like the person you're thinking. In addition, the build buy objects, particularly in the Sims 1 base game, were quite simple and clear and centered around an aesthetic that mimicked a typical TV sitcom, making it easier for the setting to take a back seat. Whereas now, detailed builds are often the focus of people's gameplay and interests. Number 9. Passion. Before the capitalistic greed took over, The Sims began as a passion project. Focus groups didn't like it, advertisers didn't understand it. Basically, it was a corporate nightmare. However, Will Wright stuck to his vision and truly put his heart into what he was creating. The Sims actually began as an architectural simulator inspired by a wildfire which tragically burned down Will Wright's real-life house. The process of having to purchase and furnish an entirely new house is likely the source of many of his strong concepts that made it into the final game. He knew what things were important, what things he noticed, and what things people wouldn't think of. The actual Sims were introduced first as home design critics, basically what I do now, but they organically evolved into the fully functional Sims we know today. Number 10. 2 tons of puns. Although not an obvious American style of humor, The Sims 1 is littered with sarcasm, puns, exaggerations, and bizarre tidbits of text throughout the game. This is a trend that has continued throughout the franchise. From the moment you begin loading The Sims 1, the text scrolling at the bottom starts hitting you with subtle puns, not all of which you will likely understand. Though, interpreting family values will be hilarious so long as Republicans keep running for Congress. However, it seems that the quality and soul behind these genius details has deteriorated over time. I mean, The Sims 3 released a whole stuff pack with sexualized bathroom items, and The Sims 4 tries to be clever, but it always has this goofy twist, and it removes the sophistication from the humor. Well, that does it for our top 10 reasons The Sims 1 is better than The Sims 4. What did you all think? Do you prefer The Sims 1, 2, 3, or 4? Or do you know any points that I may have missed? Let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. And thanks again to my dedicated Simmers for making this video possible. See you in the next one.